Hello friends, welcome back to Strategic Management, and we are talking about business level strategic choices or designing business level strategies along with strengthening business level strategies, which is the main course of this session basically. We were trying to discuss Mahindra EV story in my last session, wherein we try to build up a case that how electric vehicle scenario is developing and what kind of a role Mahindras are playing in that scenario. And there we try to understand, how business level strategic choices or designing business level strategies can have a backdrop of different kinds of philosophies which we have already discussed. Now we will try to build up the case around similar kind of an orientation. First we will talk about definitely having a red ocean backdrop with as far as business level strategic choices goes, and then I would be adding on the perspective from different philosophies as well in this session also, but we will be carrying forward the same example Mahindra story and EVs, and we will be opening up the surprise for you that which others are playing a very important role as far as EV scenario goes, who are those organizations which have to be lauded for their efforts, and what can be done as far as the whole scenario goes, and how should we be looking at EV sector goes. So, let us see what is there in store for us. So, here is the structure. So, these are the strategy levels. So, functional strategy, we will be talking about that briefly as well in due course of time, and we will be referring to those. Functional strategies are actions and reflections of business level strategic choices, which we have briefly discussed about also. That, for example, last time I mentioned that when you are talking about, as far as developing the complete scenario goes, and you are segmenting the market in terms of, choosing different targets. So, there you would be definitely going for design changes and operational excellence and so on, and when you are raising the level of production, then definitely operations and production management has to be done, market development has to be done, so advertising has to be done, retail management has to be done, and that is where functional level strategy and functional level strategic choices they come in. And there is a very thin line between as far as these two things go. So, one is slightly broader in terms of as far as structuring goes, designing goes, and that is the other is precisely at the level of the functions, wherein structuring of strategy is merged with the implementation of strategy at large. So, business level strategy, what is business level strategy? So, business level strategy is an integrated and coordinated set of commitments, and we have talked about that earlier also briefly. So, commitments and actions the firm uses to gain competitive advantage by exploiting core competencies in specific product markets. We talked about that in a broader connotation earlier in my some earlier sessions, but here we are actually designing business level strategies. We are talking about how EV industry is doing that, how Mahindras are doing that, how others are doing that. Business level strategy indicates the choices the firm has made about how it intends to compete in individual product markets. You see, you are an organization. Up till now, we have been focusing upon organizational perspective, landscape, organizational life cycle and so on. Now, here we are focusing upon individual product markets. We may even think in terms of similar products with two different names also, when we talk of brand level market choices or brand level strategic implementation, basically how to lift up this particular brand within this organization. Coke, Fanta, Dove, some Colgate charcoal, that toothpaste with with salt, some particular hair oil, some particular kind of a shampoo. So even to that, that finest of the lines which we draw as far as the product structure goes, while focusing upon the name itself, Dant Kanti. So specific individuality of that product with the perspective of brand development, that is also associated with business level strategic choices. So, for example, you would have said Patanjali toothpaste, Patanjali soap, Patanjali ghee, Patanjali atta, which we say, but then we have called that Dant Kanti. That means we are looking at the business level strategic designing with the perspective of brand development also. And here comes another addition to our discussion, brand development. Brand development can be seen with the perspective of function as well, but brand development starts, and this is largely the only thing which actually is common throughout this structure, corporate to function. Name of the product and life of that name is associated with whole of this pyramid. You may say that marketing of that product can be a functional strategy. Some business level strategic choices can be associated with as far as that manufacturing development of that product, R&D and so on, and commitment of funds and so on, and enforcing the customers, and several kinds of as far as business strategic choices go. But then brand perspective traverses from top to bottom, bottom to up, and so on. I'll be deciphering that, and then please keep on reading the through the references which we are continuously putting in front of you, and you would realize that how to look at this thin line between business level strategy and functional level strategy and so on. So business level strategy is an integrated and coordinated set of commitments and actions the firm uses to gain a competitive advantage by exploiting core competencies in specific product markets. Business level strategy indicates the choice firm has made about how it intends to compete in individual product markets. As I was trying to say, the choices are important because long term performance is linked to firm's strategies. Long term, short term, that side, this side. Every firm must form and use a business level strategy. However, every firm may not use all the strategies, corporate level, restructuring, international and cooperative at one point of time. A firm competing in a single product market area in a single geographic location does not need a corporate level strategy to deal with product diversity or an international strategy to deal with geographic diversity. As such, there are many products which are doing exceptionally well. For example, Chirag Deen, Zaveri, this ornament shop, the jewelers, they are brands, but they are localized largely. I am not sure if they are expanding. There are several. Panchi Petha was confined to Agra long back. They have distribution everywhere now largely, but still they have manufacturing in Agra only at large, and they have grown at a national level. There are many footwear manufacturers which are confined to a particular kind of a geographic area. There are umbrella manufacturers which are confined to Kerala only, but they are still very large, Kerala and Karnataka, because Kerala you find heavy rains, and they are focused upon that kind of market only. So you see, there are several kinds of elements associated with this kind of a statement, wherein in contrast, a diversified firm will use one of the corporate level strategies as well as choose a separate business level strategy for each product area in which it competes. When you diversify, when you grow, then you have to have a combination, then you have to have a connect, integration, as well as kind of a span of both the strategic levels. Every firm from the local dry cleaner to multinational corporation chooses at least one business level strategy. Thus, business level strategy is the core strategy, the strategy that the firm forms to describe how it intends to compete in a product market. And what are business level strategies? Is an integrated and coordinated set of commitments and actions the firm uses to gain a competitive advantage by exploiting core competencies in specific product markets, and that those actions are translated into functional strategies. As simple as that. But those should be related to your core competency. Nike is a research and development organization, or a production oriented organization, or a market oriented organization. Think about this, find about this, and then decide that what is their business level core competency which is translated into their functions. If they are a marketing oriented organization, then definitely they are focusing upon different kinds of aspects associated with as far as growing their marketing through brand development as such. Now, the purpose of a business level strategy is to create differences between the firm's position and those of its competitors. To position itself differently from the competitors, a firm must decide whether it intends to perform activities differently, or to perform different activities. I remember, for example, when you position a film actor, so do they act differently, or do they act in different kinds of movies? So when Mr. Bachchan, he acts in a similar kind of a movie, which is the trend, for example, angry young man and dynamic heroes, they were being projected, and all the movies were being produced with this similar kind of a storyboard, most of the times. Then Mr. Bachchan was doing things differently, and then after a particular kind of a stage, Mr. Bachchan started putting up, taking up different kinds of movies, wherein he came up in that movie, very famous movie Pa, that was extremely different kind of, wherein different storyboard, different kind of an active perspective. Black was there, very interesting and wonderful movie, which when he appeared and played a wonderful role there. So you see, that is what we are talking about: perform activities differently or to perform different activities. In fact, do you find this course wherein the instructor is performing differently, or we are performing this course as a different activity? How do you look at this course? Think about this. In fact, choosing to perform activities differently or to perform different activities than rivals is the essence of business level strategy. Thus, the firm's business level strategy is a deliberate choice about how it will perform the value chain's primary and support activities to create unique value. While we were designing this course, I assure you that we included all those things which are not there in any other course. You would not find development as freedom anywhere else. You would not find Stuart Hart's capitalism at the crossroads anywhere else. You might not find the correlation of all these concepts to be presented in a composite manner anywhere else. You might not find similar kinds of examples anywhere else. We deliberately did that. After all, we are putting up a strategic management course in front of you. It should contain the difference. Because customers are the foundation of successful business level strategies and should never be taken for granted, it is imperative to gather pertinent information about them for effective strategic planning. Effectively managing relationships with customers. Ultimately, it comes down to the customers. Ultimately, it comes down to the beneficiaries. And that is what business level strategic choices largely are all about. We will see that. And that is how authors, they also explain this, Hitt, Ireland and Hoskisson. The firm's relationship with its customers are strengthened when it delivers superior value to them. Now, this concept of superior value is very interesting. I would not go to in marketing based discussion here, so depth detail, but superior value is wherein the customer feels that superior value in relation to what? The investment or the expenditure the customer has made, the money customer has spent, the time customer is spending, and the kind of satisfaction the customer is feeling. Even if the customer is spending 20 rupees on McDonald's burger, customer should feel that I have actually consumed this burger in a special way. This burger is special, and the outside scene from this glass window, it gives me happiness. And children roaming around here in this, this place are making me happy. The scene is making me happy. This is much beyond 20 rupees actually. That is what McDonald's did. McDonald's created an experience amongst customers. So, delivers superior value to them. Strong interactive relationships with customers often provide the foundation of the firm's efforts to profitably serve customers' unique needs. Profitably serve customers' unique needs. Effective management of customer relationships helps the firm answer questions related to the issues of who, what and how. This is a common thing which we have talked about earlier also, and you would find these who, what and how based kind of questions almost everywhere. But these, despite of being common, these are most important elements actually, because that is going to help you in differentiating actually, and that is what we want, delivering superior value through differentiation. So, who will be served? Specifically, the target I want to serve. Apple, they decided those kind of customers. If you are thinking in terms of EVs, Mahindras, they are trying to do that. We have been trying to build up this case study here. Then several others basically. What needs those target customers have that it will satisfy? When Enfield was rejuvenated, this question was very important. What needs those target customers have that it will satisfy? Why would someone buy Enfield, a heavy motorcycle, in the era of EVs? Should they be doing that? Yes, they are doing that, and Enfield is doing it successfully. How did they decide what kind of business level strategies they would go for? How those needs will be satisfied, and what you would be doing to satisfy those needs? Interesting. So, who will be served? Holiday Inn targets travelers seeking affordable and comfortable accommodations, including families, business travels and tourists. That is how they are structuring those kind of things basically. You see, there are, Merit also tries to do that to an extent and so on. So, that is where they are focusing upon who will be served, a specific target. I remember a campaign of a vehicle. I am not sure which vehicle it was, but this campaign was, why should boys all have all the fun? Probably I talked about this campaign in one of my subjects, integrated marketing communication, if I am not wrong. But that is what they were targeting at. They were targeting at the girl commuters, people, girls or females who would like to ride their vehicles independently. I think it was pleasure, if I am not wrong. So that was positioned that way. So what needs do those target customers have that it will satisfy? Holiday Inn recognizes that its target customers seek convenient and reliable lodging options with amenities such as clean rooms, complimentary breakfast, Wi-Fi, as well as accessibility to popular destinations and attractions. Ultimately, what needs would you try to justify? And we have several examples. Airbnb has done that, Holiday Inn is doing that, and in automotives we have several examples. Do we have such examples in textbooks? Are we actually writing textbooks with this kind of a perspective? Are we actually focusing upon, and I am not referring to the textbooks which have been written few years or decades back and are continuously running, because largely they have become the norm. I am talking of the contemporary textbooks which are being written now and probably not finding that kind of a place and space somewhere. I am also referring to the courses which are being developed in due course of time as far as this situation goes. Are we thinking that way? So, how will those needs be satisfied? Holiday Inn satisfies the needs of its target customers by offering affordable room rates, maintaining high cleanliness standards, providing complimentary breakfast and Wi-Fi. We have talked about that, and strategically locating its properties near airports. Here comes the catch: city centers and tourist attractions. So, Holiday Inn Express, usually they have a different kind of a positioning wherein they put up things somewhere in a business districts or business areas or near the airports, and that is where people come and go, and they utilize it for a very brief stay. Then you have a different kind of a category wherein people would like to stay for longer period of time. For example, if they are coming up with a hotel in Ayodhya, then definitely people would like to stay for slightly longer time, and both the categories of customer might be there, who would come and go and who would stay for a longer time. So, you have to have accommodation for both kinds of customers in in that space as far as the situation goes. Who? Determining the customer to serve, deciding who the target customer is that the firm intends to serve with its business level strategy is an important decision. Companies divide customers into groups based on differences in customer needs to make decisions. Dividing customers into groups based on their needs is called market segmentation, which is now actually target oriented largely, but still segmentation exists. But as I have been talking in different subjects and demonstrating this fact that today segmentation per se has slightly diminished itself, and firms are focused more on targeting and positioning rather than segmenting the markets. So, which is a process that clusters people with similar needs into individual and identifiable groups. So, it does exist, and I have devoted a lot of time in my subject innovation marketing, marketing of innovation, on this concept of diluting segments and evolving targets. So, please you may refer to that, but still just for the sake of understanding, we may think of clusters as of now, or you may say micro segments, thin clusters. That would be more appropriate as far as the situation goes. After the firm decides who it will serve, it must identify the target customer groups needs that its goods or services can satisfy. Successful firms learn how to deliver the customers what they want and when they want. In general sense, needs are related to products, benefits and features. क्या आपके टूथपेस्ट में नमक है? Does your toothpaste hold salts? That is precisely what we are talking of. Then charcoal, then different kinds of toothbrushes. You have very different, and why to go there? Just look at different kinds of Lays and Uncle Chips in front of you, salted or light salted and onion salted, and so many choices are there, and every flavor is liked, and people have orientation towards different kinds of flavors and different kinds of tastes for that matter. So, having close and frequent interactions with both current and potential customers helps the firm identify those individuals and groups' current and future needs. From a strategic perspective, a basic need of all customers is to buy products that create value for them. Are we talking of product lines, product widths and product depth here? Are we associating our strategy discussion with marketing perspective? Yes, we are. Because at the end of the day, when you develop a product line, you have to develop production line as such. You have to develop advertising around every single product which you are developing in terms of that particular line. Maruti Suzuki Swift, Swift Desire. So, you have to develop a different kind of a campaign for that. Onion flavored Uncle Chips or onion flavored Lays, you have to develop an advertisement specifically for that. So, you see, strategy is all about business level choices and functional level execution. Marketing is probably or customer is the key point which we have to look at to start that thought process all around. The generalized forms of value that goods or services provide are either low cost with acceptable features or highly differentiated features with acceptable cost. The most effective firms continuously strive to anticipate changes in customer needs. We have talked about cost differentiation earlier also, but here to integrate the thought process, I would reiterate it very briefly in front of you. So, determining core competencies necessary to satisfy customer needs and how to look at our core competencies, how should we actually execute or formulate, design and then execute or strengthen the strategy, business level strategic choices, because you see, ultimately if you are not very good at distribution systems, we do not have deep roots, then definitely we would be focusing on something which is related to online and using the platforms which may help us in doing that. If we have deep roots in terms of physical retail outlets or let us say we have connections, we can do that effectively, we can serve the customers to the last mile, then we would be utilizing something else. If we can develop a system wherein direct sales can be done, distribution with the help of Salesforce, for example, like Eureka Forbes did. So, their core competency lied there in developing that kind of a Salesforce and Salesforce based kind of sales. So, that is where they looked at. So, core competencies are resources and capabilities that serve as a source of competitive advantage, Eureka Forbes, for the firm over its rivals. That is why for many years they did not have rivals, because they were so deep rooted in terms of actually their sales force and its effectiveness goes. Firms use core competencies to implement value creating strategies and thereby satisfying customer needs. Only those firms with the capacity to continuously improve, innovate and upgrade their competencies can expect to meet and hopefully exceed customer expectations across times. Companies draw from a wide range of core competencies to produce goods or services that can satisfy customer needs. I have talked about core competencies at length when I was talking about resource capabilities and core competencies. This structure we have talked about, but just to develop a chord. So, look at this integrated cost leadership differentiation, and here on the vertical axis it is competitive scope and on the horizontal axis it is competitive advantage. So, focused low cost strategy is where narrow target and cost is there. Focus differentiation is narrow target and uniqueness is there. We have talked about that, just to remind you of this. So, broad target, cost leadership and cost is there, and broad target and uniqueness differentiation is there. So, that is how we try to do. Try to put up cement here somewhere, Bangar cement, sasta nahi, sabse acha. So, it is not low cost, low priced, but it is best. That is what they are trying to do when they are trying to differentiate cement, which is not so indifferentiable actually. So, in fact, for a person who might use it or who might choose it. So, they are trying to position it that way. Firms choose from among 5 business level strategies to establish and defend their desired strategic position against competitors: cost leadership, differentiation, focused cost leadership, focused differentiation, integrated cost leadership, differentiation. Each business level strategy helps the firm to establish and exploit a particular competitive advantage within a particular competitive scope. How firms integrate the activities they perform within each different business level strategy demonstrates how they differ from one another. Now, I would like to remind you of the blue ocean strategy framework. If you are trying to look at competitive landscape here, then cost differentiation, focus differentiation and those kind of things would be there. If you are looking at this with the perspective of business level strategy choices with the perspective of blue ocean, then eliminate, reduce, raise, create. That kind of a framework would be there, and you see, that is where the diversion comes in. That is where the philosophical orientation leads you towards making business level strategic choices. So, when selecting a business level strategy, firms evaluate 2 types of potential competitive advantage: lower cost than rivals or the ability to differentiate. that is red ocean framework, but lower cost and ability to differentiate is the blue ocean framework, and command a premium price that exceeds the extra cost of doing so. Ultimately, the competitive advantage has to be drawn, and price, a premium price can be charged in terms of the whole situation and scenario goes. Cost leadership talks about integrated set of actions taken to produce goods or services with features that are acceptable to customer at lowest cost. Value innovation is slightly different as far as this particular frame goes. So, if you are going for that, you may not think in terms of only the cost and limited number of features. You may add features and still contain the cost as such, because you are going for non-customers. So, example, Patanjali Ayurved Limited, Walmart, Indigo Airlines, but Patanjali in many cases is using blue ocean framework as such also. In case of Dantkanti, in case of several other kinds of products they are marketing, food products they are marketing, medicine products which they are marketing, Ayurvedic medicines which they are marketing. So, there they are using blue ocean framework. In many of the cases they are definitely into red ocean framework as such. The differentiation strategy is an integrated, you see, the question is differentiation. So, differentiation strategy is an integrated set of actions taken to produce goods or services that customers perceive as being different in ways that are important to them. Titan, Royal Enfield, we have talked about that. Focused cost leadership, example can be Arvind Eye Care, and Arvind Eye Care can also be seen with the perspective of blue ocean as such also. Narayan Hrudayalaya is a blue ocean perspective, definitely it is there. And Forest Essentials can be looked with focused differentiation strategic perspective if they are considering themselves as competitors to someone, and if they are looking at non-customers, they can look at themselves with the perspective of blue ocean as such. Same company can have a divergent thought. Patanjali can declare today that they are in competition with X or Y, and Patanjali can say that they are in a blue ocean framework and pursue that with similar kind of a thought process while working on eliminate, reduce, raise and create. The integrated cost leadership differentiation strategy involves engaging in primary and support activities that allow a firm to simultaneously pursue low cost and differentiation. Zara Fashions is there. Now, the last part of the discussion. Business strategy is the development, alignment and integration of an organization's strategic initiatives to give it a competitive advantage in the market. Devising a business strategy can ensure you have a clear plan for reaching organizational goals. Here comes planning and organizational goals as such, and continue to survive and thrive. There are 6 steps to design a business strategy. Define your purpose, assess market opportunity, create value for customers, create value for suppliers, create value for employees, map strategy to actionable tasks and key performance indicators. And I'll just take you to the EVs again. Just last month, March 2024, around 500 manufacturers, most of them homegrown, sold over 44,000 e-rickshaws compared to less than 6,800 electric cars sold during the month. In a modest factory just north of Delhi, Ram Baran, a welder, dedicates several hours daily to training his colleagues in metal cutting, molding and shaping the bodies of electric three-wheeler vehicles. Baran, despite lacking formal engineering education, commenced his tenure at the factory in 2017 as a helper, performing menial tasks such as cleaning and organizing. A year later, he seized the opportunity to enhance his skills, receiving welding training from Chinese engineers. Almost 80% of Baran's 200 co-workers have followed a similar path. Every month, this upskilled workforce at the Sonipat factory, located 40 kilometers from New Delhi, manufactures bodies and chassis for approximately 5,000 electric three-wheeler vehicles, locally referred to as e-rickshaws. These vehicles are produced by YC Electric, headquartered in New Delhi, which holds the distinction of being India's second largest manufacturer in this segment. You see, that is how this segment is growing, wherein YC Electric, Delhi Electric Auto and Saira Electric have little or no brand recall, but they have a larger footprint in the industry. They are focusing upon business level strategy, designing business level strategies and strengthening those. I would be coming back to you with an understanding on corporate level strategic choices, wherein I would like to emphasize that somehow YC Electric, Delhi Electric Auto and Saira Electric must now be thinking in terms of making corporate level choices to expand their business on one side, and on the other side they must be thinking in terms of developing their brand and brand value. I will be catching up back with you with my next discussion. Till then, goodbye.